Well, what I think I can greatly add is what are the most serious cases that the Supreme Court looks at? Your criminal cases, all the time. And there, I bring a wealth of knowledge. Justice Traylor is who I'm going to be replacing. Justice Traylor was a former state trooper, a former prosecutor, a former district judge, and then he went straight up to the Supreme Court. It's exactly the pattern that I'm doing. And what he brought was, he had several justices that had only been civil judges. They had never done too much criminal work. I lecture all over the state of Louisiana on search and seizure and on search warrants. That's critical because it's fine splitting of the hairs and it's changing daily. We just recently had a U.S. Supreme Court case that came out that changed 20 years of history, that changes how our law enforcement officers do things. Law enforcement needs bright lines. I think 99% of them want to do it the right way as long as they know where that line is. But if you keep changing it, that's not good. Justice Traylor was able to influence the other justices to make sure they understood what the key issues were for law enforcement and for criminal law and protecting the rights of our citizens. I bring that because I've lectured to law enforcement, I've lectured to assistant DAs, and I've lectured to judges. And so those are one of the areas. But on the civil side also, I'll bring the same work ethics I did here. I am noted, as I said before, for reading everything and for either writing opinions or giving oral opinions. If you look at my track record, I have a very low reversal rate. In fact, most of my cases are not appealed. That when the parties leave, even the losing party says, well, I can see where the judge would rule that way, and we're going to lose on appeal, so they recommend to their clients, don't appeal. You know, I think the only ones that have a lower appeal rate than me are our new judges. So I've been there 13 years. Not many of my cases go up, and the ones that do, I'm upheld. Well, one, I've never considered a political career after this campaign I made, because I've learned about Baton Rouge politics. But whoever's elected is going to be there 8 years, and after that you're going to be considered, an incumbent, and so you'll be able to run for your own 10-year term. 18 years, at that age, I'll be 72. I'm 54 now. I think at 72, whether I'm ready to leave or not, I need to leave. My wife will be ready for me to, take her on that cruise I've been promising her. So, but she's very good. She knows I love to work, and she's been very good to me. I'm glad you asked that question. Once again, political rhetoric, the old Baton Rouge type politics. You say something enough, people start believing it. The first I heard about that was when he would tell civic groups or newspapers. He and I see each other, as you can imagine, this close. Never asked me to debate him. His campaign person has called my campaign persons on other issues, have never, ever asked to debate us. Now at the end, when everybody's booked up and can't get to the places they need to, he starts that rhetoric and telling civic groups that, telling newspapers that like it's true.
So it's false.
It's totally false. It's political rhetoric. Here's the deal. The public, as I've gone through these 20 parishes 2 or 3 different times, as you can imagine, they use common sense. They say, we want someone who's been on the bench and has a proven track record. It's common sense. If you're going for Supreme Court justice, you need to have been a judge for several years. That's his debate with the public that he can't win. All of them current. The only one that has not is Justice Calagaro. And if you think about that, what was that, 40 years ago? Back then, we had people who went and became a lawyer without ever going to law school. Society has changed. The way we do things has changed. I think we're going to see the end of that kind of, the public understands how critical it is. Because think about it. No judge on our bench has tried more capital murder cases than me. And I'm not proud of that because let me tell you what, those are tough, tough cases. You've got to study, study, study. There's no such thing as harmless error when you've got a man's life on the line. And I have put blood, sweat, and tears in preparing for those cases and all. A Supreme Court justice has got to know what goes into those cases. What can a judge do and not do? What are the mistakes that can happen? What looks bad on paper, but really in real life, there's no error there. You know, in my capital, Merrick, last one I just tried, it went up to the Louisiana Supreme Court. Justice Johnson reviewed it, wrote, I think, a 71-page opinion, found 0 errors. I mean, 0 errors, not even a harmless error. The U.S. Supreme Court, recently, as y'all published, ruled on it and found 0 errors. Common sense tells you, you've got to have that day-to-day experience in a courtroom to know what's truly going on. You've got to have that, basically be able to view it at all sides, be fair, objective, most importantly, totally independent. And that's something I bring, total independence. I was never a political appointee. I don't favor one side over another. I am totally independent.